Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mental Conditioning Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I want to take a quick few seconds to just, say I hope all the mothers had a great weekend. We really appreciate you guys, and you guys display a tremendous amount of mental conditioning each and every day, in the roles and the things that you do for us as mothers. And I hope that you guys had a great weekend and happy Mother's Day weekend to you guys. So we're here again doing mental conditioning Monday. I'm very excited to do it. I tell you, it's really getting to the point to where, if I don't do it, it really feels as though something is missing. And so I'm really excited always to get down here now and do this. It's really a big part of my week to come down here and do mental conditioning Mondays for you guys. And I thank you, for support and watching other videos. So this week I wanted to talk about, two words. And those two words are, discipline and trust. Each and every week, we come down here and I'm writing constantly on the message. I'm doing the workshops, and we're talking about different exercises to increase our mental conditioning, to increase our mental strength. We're talking about the whole mental conditioning movement, and there's a lot of different exercises that we talk about. We talk about big picture. We talk about decision making. We talk about strengthening of our minds, the self-evaluation. But the thing about that is that through all of those exercises and we putting in work, I really feel like everyone is really watching the videos and understanding about the mental conditioning movement. Everybody that's coming to workshops, they're checking out the movement and understanding, and we're putting in the work. But the thing about it, and for myself including, I always include myself, in all of these things. The biggest things that we have to understand, and one of the most important things that we have to understand about the whole process, is discipline and trust. We can do all of these exercises. We can, get to the point where, we are executing the exercises to build our decision-making skills, building our self-evaluation. We're getting those big pictures. We're trying to stay the course. But if we don't have the discipline to just go out there and keep executing those things all the work, because we're building strength when you're doing those things. But if we don't have the discipline to keep on executing those things, all the work, the hard work that we're doing down here in these mental gyms, wherever your mental gym is, we're really going to go by the wayside. It's really going to, deplete. As quickly as you build those muscles, if you don't have the discipline to keep executing it, those muscles are going to just immediately deplete. I always give you guys the double example of physical and mental. You can work hard in that physical gym, lifting those weights, doing those push-ups, doing those sit-ups. You could take a little break, but if you stop doing those things, the strength that you built is not going to just stay there. The strength that you built is going to go by the wayside. So you have to keep in conditioning, and that takes a great deal of discipline. What do we need to help us with that discipline? What's the most important thing to help us with that discipline? And that's the second word. That's trust. We have to be able to trust in the work that we're doing. And that becomes a difficult task to do because, life is always going to deal us, tremendous obstacles in life. I like to use, as usual, examples. I think that when we give life examples, it really illustrates, the point of what I'm trying to make. One of the things that my favorite things, I do like sports. I try to a lot of times stay away from sports analogies because not everybody likes sports. But one of the analogies that I like to use, one of the sports that I like to use is boxing. Because even if you're not a sports person, just the raw nature of boxing is so much a metaphor for life. When you watch a boxing match, it's two ways to look at it. Yeah, I enjoy the sport of boxing. I enjoy the skills and the scientific things that I'm looking at. But I also enjoy the metaphor of life that you're watching. You're watching a guy or a gal. Nowadays we have males and females that are fighting, but you're watching a fighter in that ring. And sometimes if it's a championship fight, they're fighting for 12 rounds, 3-minute rounds, 36 minutes, and they're going through all different types of things. That's a metaphor of life. Things that we go through in life, but they're doing it in 36 minutes, and they're doing it at extremely high level. And if it's a high level fight, you got thousands, and if they're watching on TV, there's millions of people watching you. That is pressure. That's a tremendous amount of pressure. But I'm gonna show you how we're gonna look at that, and I'm gonna give you another example after this. We're gonna show you how discipline and trust comes into play. That fighter has to train. When a fighter gets a big fight, he has a championship fight, he has to train for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in the gym. He has to get his body in finely tuned condition to be ready to fight for 36 minutes. That's not an easy thing. He's got to prepare himself. He might get a knockout before that, but he's got to prepare himself to fight for 36 minutes. So let's say he does that. He puts the work in the physical gym. He puts that work in. His body is finely tuned. He's done everything he needed to do, even homework-wise. He watched his opponent and got all of the things that he needed to do. You know what? I see what I need to see as far as how I'm going to defeat this opponent. You got to be able to trust in that now, because guess what happens? When fight night comes, you don't know what's going to happen. You can be in the best possible shape ever, and that bell rings and you know I'm in shape. I'm ready to go 12 rounds. There's no question. In the gym, before the fight started, I was going 20 rounds, so I know I can go 12. But when that bell rings and that opponent comes across the ring, he hits you with a punch right to the jaw early in the fight. Sometimes guys get hit so hard that the eyes roll up in the top of the head. One of the things I encourage people to do is to, if you ever get a chance in your life, to go to an actual boxing match. Doesn't have to be a big fight. Just go to a boxing match and sit as closely as you can. Because the reason why I'm telling you that, because I want people to get a real appreciation for people actually getting hit in a boxing match. When you watch it on TV, you see a guy might get hit here, in these areas here. You don't really get the real effect, like this guy is really getting punched, and you hear that effect, like that's for real. These guys are really, really, really hitting each other with everything that they have, and you got to be able to deal with that. So as I said, you come out, boom, you get hit in the chin, you get hit so hard, sometimes you don't even know what your name is. But now, guess what? That's where the discipline now has to come in, and the trust that, you know what, I trained hard for 12 rounds. Yes, this guy hit me hard. Yes, not sure what my name is right now. Yes, my legs are real rubbery, but now I have to have the discipline to know that I prepared. My body is ready to go for 12 rounds. It's only up to here now for me to institute that and to trust that. So what I might have to do, I might have to grab and hold this guy so I can get out of the round, because I'm not going to let him keep punching me. But what happens is we lose that discipline and that trust, because now I got hit, two things going to happen. One or two things going to happen. Now you're going to be like, I'm so angry that I lose my discipline because all I know is this guy hit me and I want to get him back. And I'm just going to try to swing back at him and try to hit him. And I'm not being disciplined. I'm not trusting the skills that I learned in the gym, the discipline that I learned in the gym. And that's going to allow me, because I'm not in my right mind. When you get hit like that, you're a little bit discombobulated. And the other guy is fresh and he can see everything. So that puts you in a position to do what? To get hit again. And when you get hit too many times, you're human. You're going to hit the floor. So that's where that discipline and trust. You got to know, I did the work and I'm ready to go 12 rounds. Yes, I'm hurt right now, but it's only the first round. All I got to do is get through this round, continue to have the same discipline, continue to have the same trust that I worked hard enough, that I know I have what it takes to get through these 12 rounds, and not only to do that, but also to win. But that's where a tremendous amount of discipline and trust has to take form. Trust in the work that you do. That's so disappointing when we put in the work and we don't reach our potential only because we didn't trust and we didn't have the discipline to trust in the work that we put in the gym. That sometimes sends us into a tailspin of depression, and you really start to feel bad about yourself and get down on yourself. There's another aspect of our life. I'm going to give you another quick example. When we're talking about our personal relationships, that personal relationship could be marriage. It could be a business relationship. It could be a parental relationship. I'm going to show you how trust and discipline comes into play there. We may get into, again, it could be either one of those three mentioned relationships. When you have that trust in those relationships, when you have that discipline in those relationships, when you have that trust in your business partner, that you know what, we have the same goal of where we want to go in life, nothing's ever going to be smooth. So when that storm hits, you know what, we're still going to be together. We're still not going to have any, animosity between us. It's not going to be something that breaks up our relationship. Same thing in the marriage. Things are going to happen in the marriage. Is never, no matter how well, you may get along with a person, things are always going to happen that's going to anger you, People make mistakes. But when you have that trust and discipline in a relationship, we can go to the extreme. What's one of the worst things that happen in relationships is infidelities. I'm not telling anybody how to handle that. But when you really know, like, one thing that I know is that this person really cares for me as I care for them. They made a mistake. They're not saying that you would forgive them. That's totally up to you. But when things go wrong in relationships, most of the time what happens? We start to question. We start to question that trust that the other person has towards us. We start to question, does this person really care about me? So now you've lost that trust and that discipline in a relationship. When you don't have that, that's when things start to go astray. So that's why when you're building that trust, you're building that discipline. Even in that relationship, it's like, you know what? They did something that really, really angered me as a parent and child relationship. But I know one thing. My mom really cares for me in a certain way. Or, even as the child, whichever way you're looking at it, the child or from the parent standpoint, that trust is there, and I know that person really loves me. So maybe they made a decision that I'm not necessarily happy with, but I never question that love that they have for me. When you have that, that's part of the trust and the discipline that you can go on and keep marching towards the goal of that particular relationship. It's the same thing. So that pressure that we get put on ourselves, when you're in that boxing ring, that pressure, they say pressure busts pipes. So that pressure, when you got hit, that's when you really have to be able to go back and trust the work that you've done. So it's no different when we're talking about training our minds. We're talking about that mental discipline, the hard work that we're putting in, doing those exercises. When the storms of life hit us, that's when you have to really believe and trust in the work that we put in. That's the discipline. It's like, I'm really disciplined in that. I know that I train my mind that whatever comes my way, I have the answer. I'm not really worried about that. So sometimes, speaking of mothers, one of the lessons that my mom taught me was to be able to have a little bit of patience. When problems come your way, you won't always have the answer right now. But sometimes you have to have the patience to get the rest of the equation before you can solve it. But that takes what? Trust and discipline. And that comes back to your mental conditioning, because mentally you have to trust that once I have all the pieces to this puzzle, I can solve it. But sometimes you have to wait until all the pieces come into play. But if you don't trust that you can solve the problem, then you're going to jump to conclusion and try to solve that problem, but you ain't going to be able to do it because all the pieces are not in play. But when you train your mind, you have that mental strength that like, regardless of the situation, I know that I can think my way through this problem. I just need to make sure that I have all the pieces together to do it. So that's where the trust and the discipline comes along once again, that you have to sometimes be patient. In that ring, you have to be patient. I got hit. This guy's on top of me right now, but I got to be patient that once I recover myself, I'm going to have the answer to take it to him. In that relationship, I have to be patient. Yeah, I'm very angry right now with what this person did to me, but I understand that I trust in this relationship. I have the trust and discipline in this relationship that once I can get past this anger of whatever it is that was done to me, we're going to be able to move forward. So it's the same thing. Let's apply those things to our mental conditioning, and let's not lose all the hard work that we're doing, because that's so important, and that's so discouraging when we do that, when we don't trust the work that we're putting in, because we are putting in the work. I really appreciate you guys coming down here and joining me for the Mental Conditioning Monday, and that's part of the work. So let's make sure we put it into action. So that's the Mental Conditioning Monday message. I'm pretty excited about it, as you can see. Remember, trust, and have discipline to the message and the work that we're putting in. Discipline and trust to all of the work that we're putting in, and we can apply it to whatever it is, and we're going to have the answer to whatever issues and problems that come our way. So I'll see you guys next Monday, Mental Conditioning Monday. So we're rolling. But remember, trust and discipline. I'll talk to you guys. Everybody have a great week, and happy Mother's Day again to all the mothers.